The cold encounter. The snowstorm was getting worse. Cold winds howled through the jagged rocks, blowing sharp ice crystals into the night sky. Eli pulled his jacket tighter and checked his scanner again. Nothing. Just a flat line. He had been walking for hours on this frozen alien planet. The mission was simple: survive alone for 7 days and map the region. But no one said it would be this cold. His hands were numb and the snow had already filled his boots. Still, Eli didn't stop. He had to find shelter. Then he saw it. At first, it looked like a pile of purple snow, but as he walked closer, he froze in shock. It wasn't snow. It was someone. A girl, an alien girl. She lay curled up under a broken tree branch. Her skin was violet, her hair white like snow. She was barely breathing. Her lips were blue. Her body was shaking badly. Eli dropped to his knees beside her. "Hey, can you hear me?" he shouted over the wind. No response. He touched her shoulder. Her skin was ice cold. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know if she was friendly. But he couldn't leave her here. She would die in minutes. Eli looked around. There was a small cave nearby, a place he had passed a while ago. It wasn't much, but it was better than open air. Without thinking, he lifted the alien girl into his arms. She was lighter than he expected, and very cold. He walked through the storm, carefully protecting her from the wind with his own body. By the time he reached the cave, his legs were shaking too. He laid her down on the softest part of the ground and quickly unrolled his sleeping bag. "This won't work unless we share it," he whispered. He hesitated. She was a stranger, an alien. But this wasn't about comfort. It was about saving her life. He pulled off his outer gear, slipped into the bag, and gently pulled her close. Her skin was freezing. He could feel the cold pass through his own body. But slowly, minute by minute, her shivering started to calm. Then something strange happened. She moved. Slowly, her arms wrapped around him tightly. Her face pressed into his chest. Her body, once ice-cold, began to warm faster than normal. It was like she was drawing energy from him. Eli didn't move. He just held her. He was tired, but he stayed awake, watching her breathing. It became steady. Calm. Hours passed. Then, just before dawn, she opened her eyes. Glowing. Bright silver eyes looked up at him. She blinked slowly, confused, then surprised. Her lips moved, but her voice was weak. "Why? Did you save me?" She asked, her accent strange but clear. Eli blinked. He hadn't expected her to speak English. "You were dying," he said simply. "I couldn't just walk away." She stared at him, her eyes filled with something deep, something ancient. Then, without warning, she did something completely unexpected. She smiled and whispered, "Then you are not like the others." Not just warmth. Eli woke up to a strange sound, like soft humming mixed with wind. The fire he had made during the night was almost out. But it wasn't the cold that made him sit up. It was her. The alien girl was awake. She was no longer weak or shaking. In fact, she was sitting cross-legged beside him, watching him with glowing silver eyes. Her purple skin looked brighter now, healthier, and her hair, which had been frozen, now floated slightly as if moved by invisible air. "Good morning," Eli said, unsure if she even understood. She tilted her head. "You are warm," she said in a quiet voice. Yeah, I guess that's what kept you alive." "No," she replied. "I mean, you are still warm." Before he could ask what she meant, she placed a hand on his chest. Suddenly, his body tensed. He felt something. Spark ran through him, not painful but electric, like something inside him had been touched. His heart raced. "What are you doing?" he asked, trying not to panic. She pulled her hand back, eyes wide. I didn't mean to. It's your life force. It's different." Eli stared at her. Life force. She looked down, embarrassed. I was made to survive, but not like this. My kind absorb energy when near others. But your energy, it is strong. Strange. It changed me. Eli didn't understand, but he saw something. In her expression, fear. She wasn't just surprised. She was worried. Then she stood up and walked to the mouth of the cave. She looked out at the frozen land. They will come soon, she whispered. Eli stood, confused. Who will? She didn't answer. Instead, she walked back and picked up a small silver object hidden in her belt. It looked like a crystal pulsing faintly with blue light. I should destroy this, she said softly. What is that? He asked. She paused. A beacon. If they track it, they will find me. And you? Eli's blood went cold. Wait, are you saying someone's hunting you? Yes, she whispered. I ran away. I was not supposed to be here. Not supposed to meet you. Eli stepped back, trying to understand. Why were you even here? Who are you? She looked at him with those glowing eyes. My name is Zyra. I was made in a lab, not born. I was created to understand humans, by being near one. Eli's mouth dropped open. You were made for me? No. For someone like you. I was left here by my makers. They wanted to see how I would survive, and how you would react to me. He was speechless. Everything about last night, his kindness, his warmth was part of some alien experiment. But before he could ask more, Zyra grabbed the crystal and crushed it under her foot. It cracked, then vanished in a small burst of blue mist. It's too late, she said. They will come anyway. Eli stared at her. So what now? She looked at him with a calm but sad expression. Now we run. She knows too much. They walked in silence across the frozen plain. The storm had calmed, but danger still hung in the air. Eli kept glancing at Zyra. She didn't look cold anymore. In fact, she walked with steady steps, her eyes sharp, always scanning the horizon. How far are we going? He finally asked. There's an old escape pod hidden in the valley, Zyra said. It's damaged, but it has power. We can hide there. Maybe fix it. Eli raised an eyebrow. You sure know a lot for someone who was half dead in the snow. Yesterday, Zyra didn't answer right away. She just kept walking. Finally, she said, I wasn't lying when I said I was made to understand humans. Eli stopped. Yeah, about that. You speak English. You knew what a sleeping bag was. You knew how to use my scanner. That's not normal. Zyra slowly turned to face him. Her silver eyes looked almost sad. They gave me your language, your history, even your emotions. What do you mean? He asked. My creators. They built me to study humans. They downloaded your wars, your love stories, your songs, into my mind. They wanted me to feel like one of you, but not be one of you. Eli felt a chill that had nothing to do with the cold. You're not just some alien girl, are you? Zyra shook her head. I'm something in between. I was a test, an experiment. Suddenly, a loud beeping sound came from Eli's pocket. He pulled out his scanner. Movement, he said. 3 signals, not far. Zyra's eyes widened. They found us. Before Eli could react, she grabbed his hand and pulled him into a nearby trench, covering both of them with a survival cloak. They lay close together, hidden. Then the sound came. Deep, metallic buzzing. Over the edge of the trench, a shadow passed. A drone, alien black, floating silently, scanned the area. Its red eye glowed, searching. Eli held his breath. The drone hovered for a few seconds, then moved on. They waited 5 more minutes before Zyra peeked over the edge. Gone, she whispered. They climbed out, and Eli turned to her. You said they wanted you to study humans. So why are they hunting you now? Zyra looked into his eyes. Because I broke the test. Eli frowned. How? Zyra took a step closer. Because I chose to save you instead of follow orders. I was supposed to watch from a distance, let you die if needed. But when I felt your warmth, when you let me in, it did something to me. What do you mean? She gently touched his arm. Your kindness changed me. Something unlocked inside me. Now I feel things I'm not supposed to. My creators, they fear that. Eli was silent. His heart pounded. Zira pulled away. We need to move, before more drones come. As they began walking again, Eli looked at her, this girl who wasn't truly human but wasn't truly alien either. And one thought stayed in his mind. If she had been made to study humans, then why was he starting to feel something for her? Hunted by her own, the snow had stopped falling, but something worse was coming. Zira and Eli reached the broken valley just before sunset. The land was silent, too silent. No birds, no wind, no signs of life. Just deep cracks in the ground and the wreck of a small alien escape pod half buried in ice. Zira rushed to it. Her hands moved fast across a hidden panel. A blue light blinked. It still has power, she said. We can hide inside for the night. Eli stepped inside and looked around. The pod was small, like a one-person shelter, but warm. Strange symbols glowed on the walls. Zira touched the main console. A faint hum filled the pod, and the walls lit up softly. Then Eli saw her face change. Her eyes were locked on something on the screen. Data, symbols, warnings in her language. What is it? He asked. They're close, she whispered. 3 ships, not drones. Real hunters. My own people. Eli's stomach dropped. They're coming for you. No, she said slowly. They're coming for us. Suddenly the pod shook. A deep, distant thud echoed from the sky. They're landing, Zira said. We don't have time. She opened a small metal box from the wall. Inside were strange alien tools. She picked out 2 and handed one to Eli. This is a pulse flare. If they catch you, fire it at the ground and run. Don't fight. Eli stared at it. You think I'm going to leave you? You must, she said. They won't stop. Not until I'm dead. Or worse. But before he could answer, the screen flickered again. Zira gasped. What is it now? They brought her. Zira said in a hollow voice. Who? My handler. The one who made me. She'll use my memories against me. She'll say anything. To bring me back. Eli stepped closer. So what do we do? We split up, she said. They can track my DNA. If we run together, they'll catch us fast. No, Eli said firmly. I didn't save you to let you walk into danger. Alone. She looked at him. Her eyes softened. You're the reason I woke up, Eli. You gave me a reason to choose, but if you stay, you'll die. Eli held up the pulse flare. Then we both run. They stepped out of the pod just as the sky darkened. From the clouds above, 3 black alien ships hovered, humming with energy. Their lights scanned the ground. Deep robotic voice echoed across the valley. Zira of Unit 7, you are in violation of observation protocol. Surrender now or be terminated. Zira's breath caught. She grabbed Eli's hand. We go left, she said. There's a ridge. If we make it there, they can't see us. They ran. The snow crunched beneath their feet. A beam of red light swept the ground just inches behind them. Then a blast. The shockwave knocked them forward. Eli hit the ground hard. Zira turned and saw something glowing on his back. A tracker dart. They marked you, she said. They're tracking you now. He groaned in pain. Get it off. She ripped the dart out, then pressed her hand to his skin. A glowing pulse spread from her fingers, closing the wound. How did you... No time, she said. Run. They reached the ridge just as another beam fired. A tree exploded nearby. The heat burned the snow into steam. Behind them, a figure appeared in the smoke. Tall, armored, and alien. But the face was almost human. Cold. Empty. Zira froze. It's her, she said. My creator. The woman raised a hand. Come home, Zira. Your time with the human is over. Zira stepped in front of Eli. No, she said quietly. My time with him just began. The heart knows. The alien woman, Zira's creator, stood still in the rising steam. Her face showed no emotion, only cold precision. Her armor glowed with lines of red light and her voice echoed like metal. Step away from the human, she said. You are not meant to feel. Zira's hands clenched into fists. Then maybe your experiment failed. The woman raised one arm. From her wrist, a sphere of energy began to charge. Eli stepped beside Zira, panting from pain. You said they wouldn't kill me. They won't, Zira replied. But they'll erase your memories. Everything we shared will be gone. Eli looked at her. Then we don't let them take us. The energy sphere launched. Zira pushed Eli down and took the hit directly. She collapsed, her body glowing briefly, before going still. Zira! Eli shouted. He crawled to her, heart pounding. Her skin was dim now, cold again. Her breathing was slow, too slow. He didn't think. He just acted. He wrapped his arms around her the same way he had in the cave, tight, warm, desperate. Come on. Not again, he whispered. I need you. A faint pulse moved between them. Suddenly, a memory, her memory, flashed in Eli's mind. A white room, cold lights, scientists watching from behind glass. Zira inside a tank being told again and again, you do not love, you only observe. But Eli was different. He hadn't observed her, he held her, saved her. And something inside her had changed. Zira's body began to glow faintly again. Eli felt a strange warmth flow from his chest into hers. Then her eyes snapped open. Not just glowing, burning with silver fire. The air around her shimmered. She floated, an inch off the ground. The creator stepped back, alarm flashing on her helmet. You activated the bond, she shouted. That's impossible. Zira slowly stood. Her voice was no longer soft. It was clear and strong. You said I couldn't feel. You were wrong. I felt his kindness. I felt his pain. And now, I feel his strength. She held out her hand. A wave of invisible energy pushed the creator back. Zira turned to Eli, her body trembling with new power. When you let me into your warmth, something unlocked. Your DNA, your touch, it fused with my core. You mean, I'm no longer fully alien, she said. And I'm not fully human either. Eli was speechless. Zira smiled, weak but proud. I'm something new, and that scares them. Suddenly, the sound of more ships filled the sky. Backup had arrived. Lights surrounded the valley. Zira looked up, her smile fading. We can't win if we stay. Eli stood beside her. Then, we don't stay. We run together. Zira touched the crystal on her belt. It flickered once, then projected a map in the air. There's a cave system through that ridge. Deep tunnels. We can hide. Maybe find an old portal gate. Eli nodded. Then let's move. As they ran, Zira looked back one last time. The woman who had created her was already rising again, shouting orders. But Zira wasn't afraid anymore. She had something stronger than programming now. She had a reason to fight. Escape to the stars, Zira and Eli ran side by side, breath visible, in the frozen air, chased by lights from the sky. Alien ships buzzed above like vultures hunting prey. Behind them, the cold metal voice of Zira's creator echoed again and again. Unit Zira, this is your final warning. Return, or be erased. But Zira didn't look back. She tightened her grip on Eli's hand and whispered, Faster. We're close. They reached the ridge and Zira scanned the icy rock. She placed her palm against the wall. A soft vibration answered her touch, followed by a hiss as a hidden door slid open. Eli blinked. You had a base in the mountain? No, Zira said. This is older. Much older. They stepped inside. The tunnel was dim, but the walls glowed, faintly blue, lit by strange symbols Eli couldn't read. What is this place? He asked. Zyra looked around with awe. This is not from my people. This was built by an ancient race, one that disappeared before even my creators existed. As they walked deeper, the path opened into a large underground chamber, circular, silent, and massive. In the center stood a machine, not rusted, not broken, alive. It floated slightly above the floor, humming gently. Strange orbs rotated around it, giving off pulses of light like a heartbeat. Eli stepped closer. What is it? Zyra stared at it, eyes wide. It's a gate. A star portal. You mean, we can leave this planet? She nodded slowly. Yes, if it still works. Eli looked at her. So what's the catch? Zyra walked to the control ring, touching its surface. Lights blinked, and a deep voice echoed from the machine, speaking in her language. What did it say? Eli asked. It needs a living key. Zyra said softly. Someone connected to both this world and another. She turned to him. Someone like me. Now. Eli took a step forward. But you said this wasn't your tech. It's not, Zyra said. But when you gave me your warmth, when our DNA mixed, I changed. And now, I think this machine recognizes me. Suddenly, the machine's light flared and the ground shook. From outside, a sharp roar filled the cave. Alien weapons firing. They're here, Eli said. Zyra placed her hand on the device. I'll activate it, you go through. No, he said firmly. Not without you. She smiled. Then hold on. The lights around the portal turned into a spinning vortex of stars. Wind howled. Rocks lifted from the floor, swirling in. The energy. Eli grabbed Zyra's hand as the gate powered up. Just then, a blast tore through the tunnel entrance. Soldiers in black armor rushed in, cold, robotic, and fast. One aimed at Eli. Zyra spun and raised her hand. A shield of light burst outward, knocking the soldier into the wall. The gate opened. Eli and Zyra ran for it. More weapons fired. One grazed Eli's leg. He stumbled. Zyra caught him. Come on, she shouted. One more step. Together they jumped into the light. For one long second, everything vanished. Noise, pain, cold. Then, silence. They landed on soft ground. Eli looked up at a sky full of twin moons. The air was warm. Strange flowers glowed nearby. Where are we? He asked. Zyra looked around, smiling. Not Earth. Not my home either. Somewhere new. Eli sat, back, breathing hard. Zyra sat beside him and whispered, We're free now. But far behind them, deep inside the portal machine, a small red light blinked, recording everything, and far across the stars. Someone was watching. A new kind of bond. The stars above this new world shimmered like diamonds. Twin moons hung over a peaceful night sky, casting soft blue light on the strange, glowing forest. The air smelled sweet, filled with the scent of blooming alien flowers. The ground beneath their feet was soft and warm, nothing like the frozen death world they had escaped from. Eli sat against the trunk of a thick silver-leaf tree, holding his injured leg. Zyra knelt beside him, gently pressing her glowing hand over the wound. Her touch was warm, calming. You'll heal, she whispered. Eli looked at her, breath uneven. You say that like you've done it before. Zyra gave him a small smile. I haven't, but it feels right. He stared at her, glowing silver eyes, her soft purple skin, the hair that flowed like white silk in the wind. Everything about her was alien, but something in her presence felt more human than anyone he had known. Zyra sat beside him, resting her head gently on his shoulder. For a while they sat in silence, listening to the sounds of this peaceful world. You think they'll come after us? Eli finally asked. Zyra didn't answer immediately. They will try, but the portal we used is ancient. It doesn't leave a straight path. It scrambles the trail. They'll need time to find us. Eli nodded. Then we have time to live. She looked up at him. You still trust me? After everything? He didn't speak at first. Then he gently reached for her hand and held it. You saved me more times than I saved you. That's trust enough. Zira closed her eyes and breathed deeply. Where I come from, she said, feelings like this are dangerous. They call it infection, emotion, bonding. They try to erase it, to stop it before it grows. Eli turned to her. Why? Because it makes us unpredictable, she said. Uncontrollable. Good, he said. Let's be unpredictable. Zira smiled again. Wider this time. It was a real smile, warm and human. But before they could rest, the air shifted. The soft hum of energy rolled across the clearing like a wave. Zira stood quickly, scanning the trees. They're here. Eli got to his feet, pain forgotten. How? They must have linked to the gate's signal before it closed, Zira said. Not many. Maybe one scout. Eli reached for the pulse flare she had given him earlier. Then let's finish this. Zira shook her head. No. Let me. Out of the trees came a single figure, sleek, tall, and wrapped in black armor. Its eyes glowed red. A hunter drone. Not fully alive, not fully machine. It stepped forward slowly, scanning them. Target confirmed. Unit Zira. Status: Rogue. Directive: Retrieve or terminate. Eli stepped forward, but Zira stopped him with one hand. No more running, she said. She stepped toward the drone, her hands glowing faintly. I am not your unit, she said. I am free. The drone's weapons powered up. Non-compliance detected. Then Zira did something unexpected. She opened her arms. The drone paused. You were built to follow orders, Zira said. But so was I. And I broke free. You can too. The drone hesitated. For one strange second, its red eyes flickered. Then, it fired. Zira raised a barrier. The blast hit the shield and exploded into a ripple of light. She didn't flinch. Fine, she said, you had your chance. She stepped forward, both hands now glowing bright. She reached out, not to destroy, but to touch. Her fingers brushed the drone's metal chest. And something changed. The drone froze. Light poured from its chest, from Zira's hand, from the ground itself. A strange pulse ran through the air. The drone slowly lowered its weapon. Directive. Disrupted, it said. Then it collapsed. Deactivated. Peaceful. Zira turned, back to Eli, eyes glowing brighter than ever. What was that? He asked. She walked back to him, exhausted but smiling. I gave it what you gave me. Choice. They built a small camp beneath the glowing trees, using pieces of the broken drone to form tools. The nights were calm. The stars were different, but the feeling of safety grew stronger. Over time, Zira began to laugh more. Eli taught her earth jokes. She didn't understand all of them, but she loved the sound of laughter. She showed him how to sense energy through the ground, how to feel the heartbeat of the planet. He learned to listen and she learned to feel. They weren't just surviving anymore, they were living. Weeks passed. One evening, under the light of the twin moons, Eli sat on a rock, carving something into a piece of bark. Zira sat beside him, watching. What are you making? She asked. He turned the bark toward her. It showed two figures holding hands, one human, one alien. It's us, he said. She looked at it for a long time. I never thought I'd be part of something like this. Eli looked up. Neither did I. She leaned in. Then what do we do now? He smiled. Whatever we want. They leaned close, forehead to forehead. A pulse of light flowed between them again, gentle this time, like a heartbeat shared, a bond not forced, not programmed, chosen, but across the stars, in a dark room on a silent ship. Her creator watched through a cracked data feed. Others stood beside her silent. She survived the gate, one said. She bonded, said another. Unexpected. The creator stared at the image of Zyra and Eli on the glowing forest world. "This isn't over," she said coldly, but her voice lacked confidence now. It shook slightly, because what she saw was not a failed experiment. It was the beginning of something new, not a weapon, not a subject, but a future. Back on the new world, Zyra whispered into the night. "I was made to study humans," she said, "but now I am one." Eli held her hand, heart steady. "And you're the best of us." As the moons rose higher, two shadows sat side by side, alien and human, no longer strangers, no longer test subjects, now just together.